Hi, Coffee Beans. How's it brewing? I have a brand new series, I guess you could call it. Is this gonna be a series? Yes, I think I'm gonna commit to this being a new series. This was actually my husband's idea, and I cannot express to you how excited I am for this. He went to our local thrift store and he bought me something.
I have no idea what it is.
He has challenged me to give it a new look. So I am gonna be calling this the Thrift Store Glow Up. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. He texted me this while I was at work with this idea and I was like, oh my gosh, yes. It was all capital letters, like underlined, bold, italics, like yes, please, let's do this. I'm so excited. It's in this bag. Oh my gosh. This is not really that heavy. He did say that he thinks I need gesso because I don't own any gesso. So I'm very curious what this might be. It fell over. What is in here? Okay, okay. What the heck? What is this? What? So, I mean, to be completely honest, I actually kind of like how this looks already. I like how this is painted. But now I know why he said I needed gesso. I mean, my first instinct is to use sandpaper on this, but it's like ceramic. I mean, I think he's totally right. I need to do some gesso work. What am I gonna do with this? Oh man, I have so many ideas. Look at his cute little paws. Shoot, I don't know if this is gonna become room decor or outdoor decor, but I think I'm going to have to take a trip to my craft store. So before I got started, I knew that I wanted to kind of upgrade my paint a little bit for this project because most of the acrylic paint I have is just cheap kind of dollar store paint. So I treated myself and went to Michael's and got myself some Liquitex gesso and Liquitex purple and white. Well, it's like an off-white. The purple is brilliant purple, and I got a parchment. I actually, when I paint things or color things, I don't like to use straight white or black because I think they're a little harsh. So I usually do off-whites or creams, and instead of straight up blacks, I usually do browns. So in this case, I have a nice parchment color. Before I can do anything with this squirrel, it needs a good wash down. There is some sticker residue right here on the tail, and it's kind of sticky, and like there's like some weird kind of texture on some parts of the squirrel, so I am gonna go wash it really quick. I washed it with some dish soap and a magic eraser. I even washed out the inside because I knew I was gonna be putting my fingers in the inside of the figure, which is, I never want to say that sentence ever again. And so I made sure that that was nice and clean, and then I let it air dry for a while. So I debated with myself if I wanted to sand it first because this is really glossy and I'm not totally sure if the paint is going to stick to it, but I'm in a hurry and I don't really feel like getting my mask on to sand. So I just took my gesso and I painted on a nice thick layer. But after the first layer, I could tell I was gonna need a couple more layers to really make this opaque white. So it took about 3 layers total. I've never worked with gesso before, and I'm really impressed with it, and now I can see why a lot of artists use it to kind of put a base color or a base coat down on what they're working with. Once that was all dry, I took my pencil and I started kind of sketching out an outline of what I wanted my squirrel to look like. Even though it's obvious that this is a squirrel statue, it's not really very defined. Everything is kind of blended in together and it's kind of all just one bulbous shape. So I wanted to make sure that I added some details to make sure you could tell, like, this is where the arm is, this is where the feet are, this is where the nose is. So using my pencil, I sketched where the belly would go, where the nose would go, and I even drew in the little heart-shaped nose and a little mouth, and the belly badge because this is going to be a Care Bear cousin. Believe it or not, there are no squirrel Care Bear cousins. So after a lot of thinking, I decided I'm gonna make this a Care Bear cousin squirrel named Nurture Heart Squirrel. I'll get a little bit more into why I named her Nurture Heart a little bit later. For now, I'm gonna sketch a little acorn on her tummy in the shape of a heart. And now that she's all sketched out, I can finally start painting her. Basically, her entire body and tail is going to be this brilliant purple color. It took about 3 coats of the paint to get the coverage that I wanted. I really like using this Liquitex paint, but it is really, really thick, and so it kept showing the brush strokes even after it had dried, which I'm not really a fan of, but you know, it's all a learning curve for me. After all those are dry, I finally added in the white or the off-white details for her nose and her tummy. I started with a layer of the parchment acrylic paint, but I thought it was a little bit too of a grayish tone instead of a little bit of a lighter tone of cream. So I added some white to make it lighter, and I just kept adding and adding and adding white, and it wasn't getting any lighter. And it's only just now occurring to me that I was using the gesso to make it lighter. I thought I was using white acrylic paint, and I wasn't. I was using gesso, so no wonder it didn't get any lighter. Duh. So bouncing between a dotting tool and a small paintbrush, I painted on the nose and the tummy. Then I added a little heart-shaped nose with my dotting tool using the brilliant purple. And I mixed together the brilliant purple and the parchment to get a nice kind of light purple color. And I painted the inside of the ears and kind of down by her feet, because her feet and tummy kind of all blend together into this like one big like log shape. And obviously that's not one giant foot, it should be 2 feet. So I decided to just add a little tiny bit of definition with a lighter purple, almost as if that's like the bottom of her tummy. I had debated about painting it green so it looked like grass, but I stuck with the light purple. I also added that light purple kind of in the middle where it should be the front feet and the back feet, to kind of differentiate between the front and the back and to make it look like a little bit of her tummy is peeking through. Now here was the scary part for me. It involves blending and blending paint, which is still kind of a new art form for me. I wanted the back of her tail, kind of the underside of her tail, to be a lighter purple color to kind of match with her tummy, because, you know, squirrels kind of have a lighter coloring on the bottom of their tails. So I added a streak of the light purple to the back of the tail and then feathered it out to the edges, mixing it with the brilliant purple color to kind of make it a nice blended gradient from this darker purple to the lighter purple. And I'm actually pretty happy with how that turned out. I think it adds a nice definition to it. Also, I wanted to make sure I added some definition between where her ears separate, because right now her ears are just one big weird triangle blob thing. So I wanted to make sure you could tell that they're actually 2 ears. So I took out one of my cheaper acrylic paints, which is super watery in comparison to this Liquitex paint, but it is a nice kind of darker eggplant purple. So this is where it got tricky for me because I thought I messed up, but I added a line down the middle of the ears and then tried to feather it out, but the paint was so watery it wasn't really blending the way I wanted it to. So I made sure that my brush was extra dry. So I used one brush for the brilliant purple and one brush for the darker purple, and working back and forth I just blended the two together. And then I used a thin brush to create more definition on the line by the head. So it looks like the ears are their own 2 ears, not one big solid ear. And I'm actually really happy with how that came out too. Using that same technique, I added some shading to the back of the head and added some definition between the ear and the jaw. And then I also went and did the bottom side of the paws, along the chin, and even down by the feet to show some definition by the feet and the rest of the body and the tail. And I smoothed out those lines with a little bit of the brilliant purple on a smaller brush. That was the scariest part for me, doing the shading, but I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. I think I could definitely use some improvement, but that's what practice is for, right? I had debated for a while doing all of these with Posca pens and making it a lot more cartoonish, but my husband convinced me to do the shading, and I think that was definitely the right move. Now I want to add some detail to the tail as well, because right now it's just plain purple for the most part. So taking my darker kind of eggplant purple, I just did a really simple kind of design, kind of like a stripe design on the tail. Then, like I mentioned before, I don't like to use straight white or black. I like to use more of an off-white or a brown. So for the eyes, I kept it really simple and did kind of like chibi eyes because I want this to be like, you know, pretty super cute. So I did a darker purplish bluish color for the eyes. I made them nice and big with cute little eyelashes and some eye shines. And for the mouth, I kept it really simple and just did a nice line with some dark chocolate brown for a little smile. For her belly badge, it is a little acorn in the shape of a heart because all of the Care Bear cousins have heart in their name, the word heart in their name, and a heart on their belly badge. So I made it an acorn in the shape of a heart, and I colored that in using 2 tones of brown. I tried not to get too crazy with the details because I think it's okay if this is a little cartoonish. The last thing she needs is a little red heart towards her bottom, just like all of the classic Care Bears and Care Bear cousins. To seal in all the paint, I added a nice thick coat of my Duraclear matte varnish. And finally, the finishing touch is a flower for her hands. She's holding this really pretty flower that I got at the dollar store. To attach the flower, I used some UV resin on the stem and cured it with my UV light. That way it'll stay attached to the arms nice and strong. Now, my husband and I were brainstorming for a while on what to name her because I wanted her to represent self-love and self-care and taking care of yourself, because squirrels, as we know, collect acorns and nuts and food for the winter because they are making sure that they are taken care of. And I think it's just as important to make sure that we take care of ourselves as well. So it sounded weird to name her Self-Care Heart Squirrel. So my husband is a genius and came up with Nurture Heart Squirrel. Because nurture, you can nurture yourself, you can nurture your friends and your relationships and your family, and in the case of this flower, you can nurture the earth. So now that Nurture Heart Squirrel is all done, it is finally time for the reveal for husband.
Whoa. Cute. I love that.
Thank you.
Whoa,
was this a good Thrift Store Glow Up?
It was. The eye looks so good.
Thanks.
I love the heart. Now, I know we were talking about the shading. This looks good.
Okay, good.
This came out good. I know, I could see what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was going to do the Posca to make it more cartoonish,
right.
But I think the shading was a good suggestion.
You did. That looks good. No, I've dealt with this similar problem with stuff I've done in the past, where it's like stuck on the texture. I love it. I love the tail. That's good that you did that. If you left it, it would have been just like too much blank space.
It was very empty.
I love that. Wow, this is good. This came out really good.
Yay!
This is
success.
Like this is like an awesome piece. One of the top ones, I think. Yeah.
Well, that just means
done.
that thank you. That just means that you need to go to the thrift store again and get me something else to paint.
Oh, it's going to be hard next time.
More blow-ups.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult next time. I'm not going to be playing games.
Oh no, don't do that to me!
Oh, now that I know what you can do, girl.
No.
You're ruined.
No.
You're ruined.
I'm really, really happy with how this squirrel came out. It was a total surprise as to what he chose for me. I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know if I was expecting a statue or a piece of clothing or what. This is the first in a new series of Thrift Store Glow Ups, and if you liked it, I would love to hear your comments down below. and I hope you look forward to future episodes. So if you like this, make sure you subscribe, and you can click the little bell to get notified of when I post, because I upload videos every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Love you a latte.